Speaking of San Francisco, Ezekiel J. Kralin lives in San Francisco, and he listens to Memo of the Air via knyo.org, which you can do. Tell your friends from far away. Here is the story he sent me to read to you this week. It's titled Welcome to Hoboville. I haven't read it. I'm reading this cold, so we'll see how well he did at writing for somebody to just read out loud, put all the punctuation in the right place. He usually does a pretty good job of that. Ezekiel J. Kralin writes, Jebediah and Ebenezer were hanging out by the old Panjula pool hall one chill, foggy Frisco morning when Neezer started a-thinkin'. Jeb, them darky folks crossed the bay say Hoboville warn't always the name for this here redneck hood of ourn. Before he continued, Neezer spat a wad of Uncle Queerbasher's select chewing tobacco into a hefty open black leather-bound book with a crimson ribbon for a marker that touched to the very ground and rubbed for a moment against some hot, wet Rottweiler feces. They say this here parts once was called the Castro, Caastro. Castro. Sodomites all over the place, far as the eye can see, fornicating, violating tourist chillins, and sometimes even the dogs. 'Twere a crying shame it was, surely. Jeb stopped leaning on the side of the saloon to stand his full 6'7" height. Above flapped a yellow weathered poster that proclaimed, "No shoes, no shirts, no faggots." There was no point in keeping that sign up any more, as the queers were long gone, relegated to a concentration camp on Treasure Island. But the owner, a refugee from the nuked state of Idaho, was too lazy to remove it. Come to think of it, there were no longer any coons either in this neck of the woods, nor slant eyes, nor anyone with too dark or too yellow or too red a skin. He yanked the straw of hay from his mouth. Some spittle dripped down his long, straggly beard. "You swear to that on the Holy Bible, Neezer?" he questioned with a curl of the lip and pointed to the book in Ebenezer's hand. "Yes, sir, Jebediah," boasted Neezer, who also displayed a beard dank with saliva, though shorter and wider, like a Mennonite. "I do believe I just marked the particular section smack dab in the lower right page." He paused to heckle Jeb with silence. "Read it, Neezer," Jeb finally ordered. "You knows I can't read. Tell me what the good book says." "Okay, Jeb, now simmer down, y'all. Just simmer down. Let me clear my throat." Ebenezer hocked up a musty gob of phlegm, aimed once again at the good book, then read. "The prophet Hoosier from the book of Hee-Haw, chapter 5, verses 20 through 22. Any dude wherein declares divine marriage to another dude should immediately be put to death by command of our chief demon overlord. A woe man, however, may freely declare marriage with another woe man under condition they willfully join in wedded bliss with an unmarried son of an overlord or with the widowed overlord hisself. First choice is always the father's. But should one or t'other of the woe men rebel, they should both be tied in naked shame to a post in the center of the village, wherein whoever is known to have cast the first sin in the Moormen clan shall be offered the sacred privilege of stoning to death the rebellious female and her despicable cunt sucker." Having read this passage, Neezer lowered the tome in holy silence, and Jebediah too remained quiet, chewing on the straw. After long hushed moments, Jeb opined, "Why, brother Neezer de Doodah, thank the good overlord, our grandpappies come here in the first place, be it they be homeless with not a cent in their pockets. They knew they was on a mission to declare righteous shame on them sodmites and drive the devils out of herein peaceable-like or warlike, whichever was best for the particular situation." Neezer nodded as he chawed. "Yep, brother Jebediah Doodah, we done made for ourselfen and our chillins, grandchillins, and even great-great-grandchillins, Jehovah's land out of serpent soil." This is getting harder and harder. to read aloud because it's entirely in dialect at this point, and every syllable is broken off from all the other syllables with a dash, and everything is... I'm just doing the best I can here. After further moments in silence, a harmonica played in the distance, some hillbilly tune. They decided it was time for another High Neekins, and stepped back into the dark cavern that was the Pen Julep Saloon. The clouds were hunkering down into another neon jumble of plutonium madness, soon to unleash a deluge of flesh-melting rain. So it was just as well the two patriots stepped inside. Dark as it had suddenly become outside, the quaint establishment was even gloomier within, lit by a few candles and a tin-can chandelier overhead. A doorless restroom to one side showed off a trough to pee in and a seatless toilet spotted with caked feces along the rim and overhang. Privacy could be gained by pulling a thick leather curtain across the doorway. It was made of homosexual skin and sported the gravure of a suffering Christ on a cross in pastel pink with bits of glitter. It bragged an enormous penis. Beside the entrance to the lavatory was pasted another old, worn-out sign that read, "Hetero Patriots Only, Keep It Safe." For while gay patrons had been banished more than a decade ago, customers could, if they so desired, fuck and suck to their heart's content, so long as they praised Jesus in the process at least 3 times. Sort of a ritual in honor of the Trinity. But Jeb and Neezer were too wasted at the moment for recreational debauchery. Instead, they were eager to play a round or two of breeder darts. This game was once a regular dartboard, with the face of former President Donald Trump pinned to it, back when it was a gay hangout. Indeed, it was the only African-American gay bar in the city, and it was called the Pendulum. But that was a long time ago. Now the face was replaced by a small man made of straw, with big, bright, red, faggoty lips grinning back at you, googly black eyes and yellow hair made of cheap yarn, and a sailor costume completed the ensemble. Neezer flung the first dart, but missed by more than a yard. "Aw, shucks," he pouted, then took a swig of High Neekins. High Neekins. Oh, Heinekens, that's what that's supposed to... Oh, sorry, High Neekins. I get it. It took a while for the nickels. "Your turn, Jeb," he said. Jebediah missed too, so far off the mark, in fact, that the dart propelled through the open doorway and melted in less than 10 seconds in a searing puddle of rain right there on the concrete. But it was all in good fun. They were not the competitive type, living off their monthly stipend as they did, so generously provided by the slave labor from Treasure Island. For in this time and in this world, heterosexuals ruled. God-fearing heterosexuals, that is, God-fearing, patriotic, redneck heterosexuals. But soon they grew tired of sport, though could not leave the saloon until the toxic waters ceased their cascade from the rabid heavens. So they stared with blank eyes out the grimy picture window, daydreaming about eviscerating dummy faggots you can purchase at Cliff's Variety for just $1 each, until the rain subsided, the clouds parted, and the lifeless brown sun shone once more in all its befouled glory. There isn't much to do in a post-Holocaust world, now that the real faggots have all vanished. It isn't so bad, though, once you get over the dearth of electricity, health care, firemen, uncanned meat, clean water, the kind that doesn't make your skin rupture into painful bubbles like wasp stings, soap, store-bought clothes, police, vegetables, and fruit. These are all things that don't exist anymore. I'm getting that. Television, street lamps, automobiles, radio, antibiotics, dogs, cats, and birds, clean air, the kind that doesn't make you choke and cough up blood every 2 minutes, and online porn. You can always tell stories, though, but they seem to be in waning supply these days, too, as folks' strontium-tainted memories tend to fade into carefree oblivion with the passage of time. Yet time is all we have anymore. "Hey," Jebediah's eyes lit up, "did you hear the one about—" But then his recollection drifted off into a funk, and he stroked his beard absent-mindedly. Cockroaches skittered about the wiry gray hairs and through his fingers, like an abundant sprinkle of jumbo-size fairy dust. "No, tell me, Jeb," begged Neezer, always one to embrace a new story like a dollar-store Jezebel. He eagerly snatched up a few of those roaches like movie theater popcorn as he anticipated a hellacious tale to brighten up his weary life. But Jebediah looked mortally crushed. "Nah," he growled. "'Twarn't such a good joke after all. Just ye forget it." No, I insist," demanded Neezer with a friendly thump on Jeb's arm. Jebediah then glared at Neezer, and whopped him off the stool with a loud crack on the splintery cold floor. Some blood pooled about his companion's knee, and the homo-jerky gunk surrounding it, discarded by other patrons over the year. Jeb is known for his short fuse, but he helped Ebenezer back up and onto his seat, where they both resumed gawking at the gray, wet scene outside and the occasional army tank rumbling up and down 18th Street. The barkeep plunked down 2 shots of Kissin' Cousin's Pansy bourbon beside the elbows of Jeb and Neezer, startling them from their vacuous revelry. As tender of a booze joint, he sports the requisite 2-foot-long beard that sweeps across the bar top with every drink he summons, collecting peanut shells, cracker bits, fag rinds, and other debris in the process. No one could ever accuse him of maintaining his station with less than immaculate devotion. Even the saloon rats that feed on the droppings of lemon rinds and vomit are squeaky clean. "Hey, boys, cheer up," he said with a grin. "Annual ass-licking day's almost here, and I think you two are in it for a treat." He was referring to a celebration wherein redneck patriots can get their rectums chewed out by select queer inmates for just $1. By now it is the biggest holiday in the nation, drawing more than 1,000 tourists from all corners of the Republic. In fact, that event alone keeps Frisco town in the black all year long, and the faggot who was voted most outstanding ass licker of the year gains his freedom equal to that of any red-blooded American breeder. Prizes for the 2 runners-up are nothing to sneeze at neither. Second-place winner is assigned the coveted duty as personal ass-crack tongue-washer for the Republic of Gilead's chief demon overlord himself, Donald J. Trump IV. And third place wins the lucky boon of an all-expense-paid 2-week vacation at the Gerbil Whirl Amusement Park and Sodomite Detention Center. All remaining dozen or so queer anus kissers are required to strip down to their ankle weights and get violated, bashed, tortured, or whatever those who pay $1 choose to do with these unrepentant rump hogs, so long as not a single one of them survives this highest of holy days, with the hetero lord's crimson river of life still pumping through his arteries. "Lordy, lordy, how I miss the good old days, Cletus," Neezer addressed the barkeep in a far-off nostalgic haze, chin resting in his palm. "The good old days?" queried the barkeep as he snatched up several wolf spiders and tossed them into the snack jar. "You know, when faggots was free to roam, and we was free to hunt 'em down," Neezer sighed. "Nowadays, you have to wait for but once a year before you can have any fun with 'em. It's all controlled, planned, advertised to death, and the almighty dollar rules. That's the almighty dollar rules." He then spat onto the floor, striking a large black creepy crawly that scuttled away with a clatter. "Goddamn capitalism." "I know, right?" Cletus sympathized. "Government's got its filthy paws in everything anymore. You just can't get out there and shoot down a sissy boy whenever the mood strikes. You have to wait a whole goddamn year to get your ass licked at gunpoint and wait in a long line before you can do even that. What's this country coming to, anywise?" "And that was some good ass-licking, let me tell you," Jebediah piped up, as if startled from a deep slumber. "Finger-licking good, ha-ha," quipped Neezer. They all cackled like flustered hens over that joke, which surprised even Ebenezer, who invented it in the first place. A lot of guffaws, knee-slapping, and back-pounding ensued for several sparkling minutes. During that brief span of time, they forgot their worries, the encroaching doom of their world, and a sad longing for the love of another man they can never have, at least not in this life. Though a girl can dream, can't she? When they finally caught their breaths, Jebediah pointed a knobby index finger at his forever-to-be unrequited enamorado. "Neezy, God bless it ye mighty bigly with tharthar or some gift of the spoken pun. I should punish ye for that." Cletus the barkeep nodded in vigorous agreement before turning his back on them to polish the artillery shells he finds in the gutter now and then, waxing them up to be used as dildos that he presents to this or that favored patron. That is, one who either leaves a big tip or displays an impressive bulge that whispers a promise to engorge something sweet, huge, and rock hard up the bartender's poop chute before the shift ends. Well, the torpid Mercury rains finally came to an end, and the sun bulged out from behind the clouds like a throbbing abscess. With that, a priest, a rabbi, and an imam entered the establishment, grinning like they just told each other the grandest joke in the world. Jeb and Neezer looked up at the holy trio quizzically, grateful for the relief of something novel about to enter their otherwise necrotic lives. But the barkeep glared at them in severe displeasure. He yanked out a nuclear shotgun from beneath the counter and bellowed, "No, none of that here. We won't have none of that here. The Lord is my witness." He blew them into a zillion bloody pieces of meat and bone. The rats feasted. "Time to go, I guess," Jebediah moaned in a hollow timbre is how to pronounce that. I just found that out. For neither he nor Neezer had any idea how they'd spend the rest of their sorry little afternoon to relieve this ghastly boredom that haunted their every waking moment since the day they were ejected from a fat lady's womb. But one thing they knew for sure: they kept their hopes buoyed even just a little. They could always come back to jack off, suck off, or fuck off at the old pen-julep honky-tonk pool hall and dancing saloon, though dancing is something you do by yourself until you drop dead, like St. Vitus. What on earth do they put in the water these days? Lordy. Well, that was a lot of fun to read out loud. Welcome to Hoboville was the title of that by Ezekiel J. Kralin.